So Divya, what happened this week?
All right, first story of the evening, and 2023, because this is the first episode of BNB this year. The first story is AT&T is deciding to sell off its cybersecurity business. This is the report. Their strategy is to put all its chips on its core telecom business, and they are reportedly considering the sale of its 5-year-old cybersecurity business unit. I just want to add to this. I've been getting a lot of emails from AT&T cybersecurity and asking me to purchase them. So what do you guys feel about this story?
So this hits close to home because AT&T is in Dallas, and I know a number of people that worked for Alien Vaults, either in a prior life or recently left them. So the Austin cyber scene has a number of Alien Vault people in it.
Yeah.
I think it's surprising, right? I think that AT&T and Alien Vault put in a lot of work to build up a good brand, and it's weird that this day and age they would want to get out of the cyber business when everyone's getting into it.
Yeah, I mean, when you operate one of the largest tier 1 networks on Earth and you allocate, a quarter of the IP addresses on Earth or something or whatever, it's such a natural combo with something like Alien Vault. I mean, why would you do that?
So it seems so much like another large technology company that does this whole, let's go buy something, let's integrate it, let's put it under our brand and then resell it 5 years later. I don't know, another 3-letter acronym, might start with an I, end with a BM, that does the same exact thing.
Yeah, I think it does end with
Yeah, that was very intentional. Don't you worry.
Yeah, I'll bet it was.
Well, do you think this sends the message, Paul? Like you said, they are arguably one of the largest networks on the planet. Do you think this sends the message that they care less about security now?
Wow, I never thought of that, but that's quite a zinger. The thing is, from their position, just in control of the assets they're in control of, they could probably do more to help people with security than any other 10 people on Earth, right? So you think companies on Earth. So,
but so
I don't know.
I
But you know what? The
it,
bean counters may not care. Who cares?
Yeah, so the way I look at it is, I'll bet you they had a hard time with sales from a holistic perspective, because all of a sudden your network provider, all of this is now owned by one company.
Right.
And all of a sudden it becomes all eggs in one basket. And it's hard to differentiate that. So they probably had a hard time with sales and probably saw an opportunity to say, hey, if we spin this off, there's a bigger opportunity for us to partner with these people, et cetera.
John, that's a really good point, because I've dealt extensively with them and with Vodafone. And there's an old adage, the only thing a carrier can sell is more minutes.
Right.
Or more bandwidth. And it's pretty much true. And so maybe that's just what happened here, I don't know.
So I would guess here this deal, and I know nothing about the actual deal itself, is going to be something along the lines of, we'll sell it off, but guess what? We get 50% of every partner deal that we do with you, and we can partner with you, right? So they're probably looking at this as a sales opportunity. It's nothing to do with increasing security. I think it's probably a big miss, because as Paul said, the opportunity was there to increase security for people all across the world.
Right.
So I have one question. As we all know, T-Mobile's been breached like 8 times in like the last 2 quarters. Whatever.
2 years.
2 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised even if it was 2 quarters.
It's T-Mobile has had some data breaches.
So
so far, this is what we've counted.
So how does that kind of like play into the strategy of AT&T trying to sell their cybersecurity unit?
It seems weird. I would expect everyone to want to increase their cybersecurity, especially if you're in telecom. People are relying on telecom all the more in ways they didn't used to, especially with 5G. The whole trend is for local networks to go away and everyone to rely on 5G. And with that comes a huge security concern. So I think this is a bad move. I think this sends the wrong signal. And I would not say it's a bad move for T-Mobile to buy Alien Vault from AT&T, because guess who needs to show that they are putting more emphasis on security? T-Mobile. So, you know, to your point, it may be a sales issue, but I find it weird. It's also the exact opposite strategy of Microsoft. Microsoft is, we are the one place you need to go for your OS, your browser, your security, all of it. I don't really get what AT&T does if they just have cell phone providers and internet.
I would agree. I think that's a very valid point, and it's interesting because I come from a world, right, of financial background where they really moved from a fiber core, which would be AT&T's real business, to having fiber core with a 5G backup for all like ATMs, bank sites, teller sites, etc. So it's really interesting that you say that you kind of bring up the 5G thing, because that is the next generation of, that's our backup network. Even if it's not your primary network, it's your backup network, and they have the network to provide that. So it's interesting that you mentioned that.
That is our emergency backup. Is we have a T-Mobile 5G MiFi, and if the internet's ever down, like, people can still have enough internet to keep working.
Right. And a little happy reminder to that point, you guys, is that most of the largest networks in that top 10 tier 1 network group, they built out their 5G infrastructure with Huawei, right? So that's pretty funny. The only ones who haven't are the ones in America who are like 2 generations behind the other guys.
Well, if you've seen what I've seen in terms of Chinese companies putting mystery chips into hardware,
Yeah,
you would feel much better on a US network.
100%.
The number of chips that suddenly get added to Chinese hardware, that there's no explanation for it. So yeah, like I think,
and it's really interesting. All of those chips have little inflatable latex things that float them up into the air.
Right.
actually,
That's another story.
Upon demand.
yeah, they
Sorry,
deliver
maybe
software patches
maybe
to
too
your
soon.